All right. What's going on out there, folks? Ladies, gentlemen. We are out here on the Ashley once again. I'm doing a shakedown run today. You'll see a video, or you'll see a picture right in front of all my gear that I got loaded up. I really forgot how much gear loads down your canoe. You know, I was pulling it out to the water instead of putting my wheels on. I'm gonna put my wheels on when I exit, just to go ahead and use the wheels for the first time since the river, 2021, Mississippi. But let's see if we can switch around here. Oh, I'm not even in the picture. So I'm doing a horizontal today instead of vertical. But we're gonna do a shakedown run in the middle of the day. It's a couple hours before low tide. And we're gonna go out just as far as we feel like it and then come back, just trying to get the balance, see how the balance is front to back. I can't tell, I need to get somebody to take a picture of me, but to see how the trim is, which is, you know, how it's balanced front to back from the bow to the stern. I believe side to side it's balanced fairly well. I mean, I'm sitting square in the seats and I'm not getting any pull to the left to the right. I'm going fairly true down the river. If anything, I'd maybe say a tiny pull to the right, but not really. And it really only happens around the turns, because the turns, you know, the current's going to go around a turn, and it's going to it's going to turn you the same way that it's turning around that curve. So that's really the only time you got to battle that. And that's really, most times, if you're staying real close to the inside of a turn, that's when that current's really going to hit you the hardest and affect your boat. If you stay to the outside, which is kind of where you should stay unless you're going to be in the channel or something, you know, silly like that, you really want to stay to the outside of the turn anyway, because that's where the biggest part of the water is, the deepest part. So I've got my bucket and my wheels in the back. I've got one of my throw ropes or my tie down ropes. Could be a combination of things. Could be a throw rope, you know, if I need to help save somebody out in the middle of the water, or it could be a tie down rope to tie up to a cleat at a marina, at a dock, or just off to a rock somewhere. It could be tied to a tree, 40 foot of rope. So I've got that, the bucket, the wheels, and the rope in the back right now. Also, I have about 25 pounds of motor and battery sitting back there eventually. So that's going to add an additional 25 in the back. Up front, I've got my 2.5 gallons of water. Of course, me in the middle, I've got, you know, 230 plus pounds, a couple little things of water, you know, flanking me on the sides. 2.5 gallons of water up in front of my thwart, which is going to equal about 20 pounds. And then I've also got my day pack up there, which right now it's a 30 liter dry bag. Right now, the only thing I've got in there is my 6 to 7 pound battery bank. So what's that, 26 up front, maybe close to 20 in the back. How's it going? So what else do we got? Also got my Garmin GPS attached to the thwart up there for the second time. Worked out fairly well the first time. Of course, I've got my camera mount up on the thwart. I've also got, oh, I forgot about that. I've also got, up in the front there, I've got, damn, I forgot to put my orange flag on there, which tomorrow, my new flag that actually says, you know, Solo Erie Canal 2026 on it. That's going to come in tomorrow. But I forgot to put my flag on there today. But also up front, I've got a 6 pound, no, I think it's a 3.5 pound anchor up front. So that gives me a little extra weight up front. So I got maybe 30 pounds up front. I got about 20 in the back. I'll put another 25-ish. Kind of not straight in the back, it'll kind of be behind my seat, so it's going to be kind of center back. So yeah, once we get that in, we'll test it out. Hopefully it's going to be sometime this week. Crossing my fingers. No guarantees. But we'll get that motor on, and then I'll probably put out down closer to the harbor, probably at the Cosgrove, North Bridge Park. Down there off Cosgrove, I'll probably put in down there. That way I got some deeper water to traverse in. Today wouldn't be a very good day to put my motor on and be doing this low tide paddle. I've already hit a couple sketches, a couple sections, sorry, that were pretty low. Almost thought I was gonna have to get out and walk the boat for a second, but we're in the clear now. I think we missed the big part of the low tide obstacles. So yeah, we'll get out once that motor comes in. We'll do a couple more shakedowns with full gear. Up front, I'll have a little bit more going on in that dry bag. I'll probably have my clothing up there and the rest of my electrical equipment will go in that dry bag. That'll be kind of a bag that goes with me into my tent. Clothing, toiletries, electronics, all that stuff will go with me into the tent. The rest of it will stay tied up pretty close to the fly of the opening. And yeah, we'll shake it all down. Just make sure we got it all dialed in before we go and put it in on the Buffalo River over there in Buffalo. Get this thing started. I was trying to push to maybe the end of this week, but it looks like the end of this week is probably not going to happen. So I think I'm still going to land, about where I was originally trying to go to begin with, which was around Labor Day weekend. So we'll put in on a busy weekend and get all the busyness out of the way. Going up the Buffalo River and the Niagara before we turn onto the canal itself, the new terminus of the canal, and go ahead and get all that business out of the way and all the excitement, and then we can just chill for the next 100 or so miles down that western side of the canal. So that's what we're doing. I'll come back to you if I see anything exciting, all right? Which button? All right, guys. Well, we'll jump back in just for a moment. Like I said, this is going to be a short one today. Not going to be a short paddle, but short video. So we're about, where are we at right now? We're 4.69 miles into this thing. Downriver, low tide paddle. Really surprisingly, I mean, it is a little hot today, and almost not full sun, there's clouds, but full sun for the most part. What was I gonna say? The load seems to be just perfect. I mean, I like a perfect load. Seems like it's evened out pretty nicely. Left to right and front to back. I think the trim is nice. I love a good trim too. I love a good load on a good trim. And things are going great, to be honest with you. I was just got off the phone with my older son, I'm sorry, Brian Jr. Called my younger son. He answered the phone surprisingly, but then blew me off, said he was with some friends. They're walking around downtown, enjoying New York life as always. He's always on the run, on the move. Just ended up getting a new apartment, he and his girl. They'll be moving in next week, I believe, the ending part of next week. So he's pretty excited about that. Said he'll have some more time for me once they get all situated. Hopefully going up there sometime around October, possibly. Had to paddle out of that left side of this channel I was on. The bank over there was really shallow. Like I said, we are just passing low tide. So actually the low tide hadn't even hit yet. What time is it? Yeah, it's almost 2. I think the low tide is actually at 2:30. So the water's still kind of flowing out slightly. Pretty much entering slack tide at this point. But so I called him. He was kind of busy. So, well, before that, I called my buddy Tim Nagowski. He's the one that's going to be putting me in on the river eventually. Hopefully, probably next week is what I'm looking at. Probably the end of next week, I think, is what I've maybe finally decided. I may or may not have a motor at that point, I'm hoping it's going to come in by the end of this week, and that way I can get some testing done on it. If not, the first test might be on the Buffalo or the Niagara River. which I really don't want to do. I'd really like to get it tested before then, but what can you do? Got to go with the flow, you know. So I called my buddy Tim. We kind of worked out dialed in a few details. We're still quite not there yet because I still don't have a definitive date. Once I lock in a date, everything moves into place. You know, at that point, you figure out everything once you get a date locked in. But without a specific date, we still are kind of in limbo as far as planning goes. This is where those guys were heckling me the last time I came down here. A bunch of kids, about 10 of them, I think, down here at the high tide. You don't want to come down here doing this bullshit at low tide. You'll break your neck. But they come out here high tide and climb up this old tree and launch off of that landing pad up top and that rope and have a good old time. Hopefully something like that. You probably saw that old washing machine right there sitting there on the bank of the river. Hopefully something like that doesn't wash down to where they jump. Hopefully somebody goes out and scouts the jump area every time. Because something new could be laying there every single day when this water flushes in and flushes out twice a day. You never know what could be laying there the next time you go out and try and jump. So talked to Tim, got a little bit closer to dialing things in, and hung up with him, called my younger son, and then called my older son. He's down in Phoenix visiting some friends, and I guess they're at Costco, doing a couple's trip to Costco. So I talked to him briefly, but basically I just wanted to dial in, kind of talking to some people on the river too. You know, I haven't called anybody from the river since I've been going out. See how that passes time and how time goes by while you're having a conversation with somebody, and you know, talking with these new hearing aids on the river, in the wind, through the phone, into the wind, around corners, without great cell service. Just wanted to kind of see what the situation was, how the clarity was. And everything seems to be working just perfect at this point in time. So the motor is still the only variable. The motor is still the thing that's killing me. And, you know, like I was telling Tim and my son, I don't even need the motor. The motor is going to be a nicety. It's going to be an as-needed type thing. I want to paddle all or the majority of the canal to begin with, and the Buffalo River and the Niagara River, you know, to start this thing, maybe even touching the tip on the Hudson at the end. But the motor is going to be a nicety. You know, like right now, I got some probably 5-mile-an-hour headwinds coming at me. I wouldn't really need the motor at that point. I can paddle into that pretty easily and still make decent time. You know, I'll probably be knocked down to like a 2 mile per hour, you know, 1 knot, 1.5 knots if you want to go into knots, but probably a 2 mile an hour paddle versus with no wind, maybe a 3.5. If I get a strong headwind, if I'm looking at 10, 15 mile an hour coming in at my face, and you know, maybe going up against some waves, maybe, you know, specifically crossing Oneida Lake like I've mentioned before, maybe I turn on the motor, get a couple of miles per hour on the motor and get maybe 1 or 2 on the paddle, and now we're doing a good 4 to make up for the headwind and still make good time to the next camp or next town or wherever we're trying to land that particular day. And there's some days, you know, I'm going to land multiple places during the day, I think. So if there's multiple towns in succession, you know, going down, I might stop in two. Might stop at a town for breakfast. I might stop at another town for lunch. Maybe stop at one for a late dinner and then, or an early dinner, and then pull into a camp somewhere, you know, past that. So it could be 4 stops during a day. Who knows? Some days I might just want to push, and I've got a place that I got to get to 20 miles down the canal, and I might have to push and really have minimal stops to get over there. We got a boat forward. That's how we used to say it on the Mississippi. We'd have a boat forward or a boat back. Trying to flip you around here, but I can't see. trying to flip me around, but I can't see where I'm flipping. So yeah. You're all good? Yeah. Gotta put on his brakes. Well, guys, while I was trying to switch the camera around, I think you saw the video. While I was trying to switch the camera around, I had pushed the button for the mute. So I think I was muted for the whole time I was talking to you. But anyway, the first boat came through and pretty much slammed on his brakes right when he got to me instead of slowing down way before me. And that causes even more of a wake, because all of a sudden you slam on brakes and your whole stands up and it just pushes a bunch of water forward. So you're actually creating more of a wake when you do that than if you just do a gradual slowdown, you know, well before you get up to me. Create a bigger wake. And then the water skier came through. I didn't expect him to slow down. I wouldn't have slowed down either. I mean, slow down, you're going to drop your skier. So, but what I was saying when I realized I was on mute is, and I'll probably cut some of that mute out. You won't even notice some of it. But what I was saying is, I grew up doing the majority of my water skiing on this river as well. Did a lot of it once I got to my first duty station down in Valdosta, Georgia, with a buddy of mine, John Allen, nicknamed Peanut. He's no longer with us, but he used to go out on his boat quite often. He and his wife and his young son at the time. We'd go out with my son at the time, my only one, and my wife, ex-wife, and we'd go out and go water skiing down there. Haven't done it in quite some time though. We have just reached the 5 mile mark. That's what I was about to tell you until I realized that I was on mute. So we just reached the 5 mile mark. I'm gonna go ahead and do a spin. My plan today was to do about a 10 mile and get me a good, you know, an easy 10 mile, not really forcing, not really going all out paddle, just kind of cruising. Talked to some people, got the load in the boat, a little bit of winds, heat of the day, and just kind of see miles to time what we're going to get, just to dive me in a little bit further on judging the distance I think I might paddle in a day, or what my max distance could be if I really needed to push. So just trying to test all the things out. So we're going to do a 10 mile, then I'll see how long that took me to go 10 miles, and of course that's going to give me my miles per hour, which my GPS is going to calculate all for me, but that'll give me a good indication if the lock's open at 8 o'clock and they close at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So if I've got, what is that? That's 10 hours of paddling per day. That tells me essentially where I need to start plotting out my campsites. How far spaced out do I need to keep everything, to keep it manageable. Of course, I'll have some short days, I'll have some long days. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, I'm gonna concentrate on the paddle, and we'll talk to you soon.